Yo, what it do, brothers? You're not tuned in to all that rah-rah with your Hebrew brother Milo Judah. What's poppin'? So, brothers, as some of you know, I am from Jacksonville, Florida. And with that being said, the rapper Foolio was killed around June 23rd of 2024. I believe it was his birthday, or he was celebrating his birthday. His birthday hadn't come just yet, something like that. But anyway, he ended up getting killed in Tampa, right? But Foolio was from Jacksonville, and I can't necessarily say it's a sad situation. What's sad about it is the fact that so many young so-called black men have gotten caught up in their foolishness and have lost their life because of it, or they have taken the life of another young so-called black man and they are now incarcerated because of it. That's the sad part. But as far as the conscious decisions that these young brothers choose to make, I can't say that it's sad. And for the energy that they put out into the world, and once it returns to them, I can't necessarily say that that's sad. And even if you watch some of Foolio's interviews, I mean, he knew what time it was. That's what I can say about him. Not necessarily that I agree, but I can respect the fact that he knew what type of life he was in and he understood what came with it. But even still, man, the individuals who ended up being found guilty for killing him, I believe Sean Gaffright is the youngest one. I think he was like 17 or 18 when it happened, and now he's about 20 years old. Right? But one of the attorneys, I believe, at trial basically told Sean that, we can use you for your sweat equity. And it's crazy. It's crazy. There's so many so-called black people in the society who love to say that we are still in slavery. We're still in bondage. And I wouldn't necessarily disagree with that. I would say that it's more of a mental thing more than a physical thing, because physically we are free to just about do whatever we want to do. The fact that I am making this video articulating my thoughts on this scenario in the first place is something that a lot of our forefathers weren't able to do. Right? They had to sit in barbershops, sit in their basements, sit in their huts, and converse about the issues that they found in society, because they weren't allowed to articulate their opinions to the masses. Now, of course, you have Marxists like Martin Luther King or whatnot, but that's besides the point. So anyway, he told the young brother that he would be good for sweat equity. Now, to the untrained ear and to someone who would want to get emotional about, the blackity blacks, they would say that that sounds like slavery. And yes, it does sound like slavery, because that's what it is. You're working off your debt to society. And plus, the 13th Amendment backs that up, right? The 13th Amendment actually reads that neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. So no slavery or involuntary servitude, except it's a form of punishment for someone who has been convicted. So basically, if you are in prison, you're liable to be a slave. That's pretty much what that is getting at, and that's right there in black and white. It has always been there. Right? That's something that I learned about when I was in high school. So I say that to say, you brothers got to get yourselves together, man. The streets, the illusion of the streets, the women, the money, the cars, the guns, the hood fame, you can't take any of that with you. Right? And even when either you get killed or you get incarcerated, none of that stuff matters anymore. And at that point, it's going to be about what you left behind. And did you leave behind destruction and corruption? Or did you leave behind a message to the youth to where they can make themselves a productive member of society? Right? But with that being said, brothers, we are going to get into it. We're going to listen to what the attorney told the young brother, Sean Gaffright. So with that being said, let's do some real and rare analysis. Let's get it.
Based on Mr. Gathwright's age, physical abilities, things like that, do you think that the prison would benefit from him in a work capacity if he were sentenced to life without parole?
I say yes. With my experience, not only just in classification, but as former warden and even as a jail administrator, he's someone that's young, he's healthy. In reality, we need that labor, we need that sweat equity.
Sweat equity. That's something that the young brothers need to hear, because that's what comes with that lifestyle. Either the end of your life or sweat equity for a long time. Right? He said he's young, he's healthy. I mean, you looking at him like a slave, sizing him up. Oh yeah, this young buck can do a lot for us. Alright? So, brothers should be aware of what's going to happen once they end up in that court system, because at that point you're at the mercy of the so-called white man, which you say you hate, but you put your life in their hands.
And we will put them out there to work, because we do have an aging prison population, jail administration, we have that. So we put these young individuals to work.
I'm too old. I ain't got no time for no plan. I'm 90 years old, Lord.
The man said we have an aging prison population, and we're going to put these young dudes to work. these brothers in here getting too old. Their bodies breaking down. We got these young guys, they're healthy. Their bodies are intact. We can use them for good sweat equity. We're going to put them to work. Do you hear that, so-called black man? So therefore, you should choose wisely about the things that you do. And even in the caption, where it says this how they really be feeling about us. Well, the best way I can put it is, I'm in business. And when you are in business, you know that you are going to have to engage in business with people that you don't want to engage in business with for whatever reason. And sometimes you can see that you don't have any ill will toward them, but for whatever reason, they have a gripe and ill will towards you. So what are you going to do? Well, you're going to have all your ducks in a row. So therefore, they can't bring forth any foibles about you. Right? They can't say, well, you did this wrong or you did that wrong. Therefore, we can't go forward in whatever business dealings that we have. You're going to make sure that you have all your stuff together. Same thing with this society. If you understand that the individuals who run this society don't like you, or you feel as if they feel a certain way about you and they have it out for you, why would you give them the upper hand on you? You understand that, brothers? I'm not saying don't live your life. I'm not saying don't enjoy yourself. But there are consequences for our actions. And we know right from wrong. And even though Foolio was living the life that he was living, this brother Sean Gathwright, he had, from what it seems, he had no dealings with Foolio. Maybe Foolio said something about one of his beloved ones or something like that. But he wasn't in a gang. He wasn't tied to any of the gangs. He just wanted to get him. That's what it sounds like. But now he's in court asking for pleas. Copping for pleas, I should say. It's like, bro, what you doing? At least the dude, Davion Murphy, or Rashad Murphy, whichever one was laughing, at least he understands what he did and what comes with it. And not that I agree with it, but you, in a sense, have to respect when someone makes a decision and stands on it, whether it's right or wrong. So I think it's just pretty crazy that you know, brothers understand that the so-called black man is the most hated in this society, but they still choose to go against the laws of the land. And then when they see brothers like this in these situations, they have a sense of pity and empathy for them. How do you feel empathetic for someone who made a conscious decision to drive from Jacksonville to Tampa, knowing that there's cameras everywhere, and he made a conscious decision to kill that man? Like, bro, you had at least 3 hours to say, nah, I don't want to do this. But, you know, it is what it is.
And get some sweat equity out of them since they are young and actually can do the work.
And look at his face. He don't give a damn. On to the next. It's like, you know, I believe that brothers have put it in their head that the so-called white man of today cares about them so much. But I mean, look at this man's face. He don't give a damn. On to the next. It's business. It is what it is. You made that decision. Now you got to deal with it. But that's basically it, brothers. That's all that real and rare analysis, brothers. We have to be circumspect in our decisions. We have to scrutinize everything in this society. Right? And I mean, on top of that, man, I mean, it's cameras everywhere. To travel from Jacksonville to Tampa and to, you know, gun that man down at a hotel. It's like, bro, you got Teslas out there. At a hotel, you got a ton of cameras. I mean, you got cameras on lights, reading tags. I mean, this shit just stupid. You in your mom's car. Just an idiot. Like, I have no sympathy or empathy for that dude, or for any of them dudes. But at the least, I will say, them Murphy dudes, they understand what they did, and it is what it is to them. Because Foolio did rap about their cousin who passed. You know, he was killed. So it's just a revolving door. And honestly, I don't understand how brothers continue to live that life when nothing good comes from it. I mean, you get a little bit of money for a few years, but that life is so short-lived. I would much rather pass away of natural causes. And I mean, I believe in the Second Amendment fully. Right? You run up in my house,
it's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
But even still, that's for protection. It's not for boasting. And I mean, when I was a little younger, I used to boast my stuff, but it is what it is now. If you know me, you know what's up. But it's nothing to glorify to live that life, right? To be rapping about, you know, people's loved and deceased ones. Because that energy is always going to come back to you. It's an eye for an eye, thus saith the Most High. But with all that being said, brothers, yo.